everybody, my name is Amy and welcome back to my channel, Sew, Make and Create. I'm so glad to be back here on Flosstube and I'm here today with a mid-year WIP parade. I know it's been ages since I filmed and I'm really sorry, but I'm back. What I've decided to do today is to film two videos. So the first video is going to be my mid-year WIP parade. So that's going to show you all the stitching that I've been working on since I last filmed at the end of February, and any progress that I've made this year on my stitching. Also include a couple of finishes that I have and a couple of new starts as well. And then I'm going to film a second video, and that's going to be a bit of a life update and a haul of everything that I've been buying, because I have bought quite a bit over the last few months. So I thought I'd separate them out because I know a lot of people watch WIP parades who haven't sort of seen the channel before. So I thought I'd keep that separate, just keep the stitching to the stitching, and then if you want to watch a little bit more about me and where I've been and what I've been up to, you can watch the next video that'll be out in a few days. So without further ado, let's go for it. So for each of my WIPs today, I'm going to be showing you what it'll look like when it's finished, what it looked like at the start of the year in January, and what it looks like now. I'll show you an update. Some pieces I haven't worked on, but most I have added some stitches to. So it should be interesting and not too boring being like, I haven't worked on it. So yeah, let's get started. My first WIP I started in June 2020. So I'd done some cross stitch prior to that years before, but this is the first one I sort of picked back up when I started cross stitching again. And it was a pattern that I found on Etsy. I've called it Snowman Baubles. I can't remember the actual name of it, and I'm pretty sure it's stolen artwork, unfortunately. So I won't be sharing a link of where I've got it from, but hopefully you'll appreciate that I've started it. I know better now, so I won't do it again. But yeah, so that's where we're at with that. It is what it is, I guess, but we can only strive to improve, can't we? So this is what it'll look like when it's done. It's a full coverage piece. It's a big piece. I think it's about 80,000 stitches. I've chosen to stitch this on 18 count white Ada, and I'm stitching it 2/1 with DMC. I do all my pieces full cross. This is where you saw it in January, and unfortunately I haven't worked on it at all yet, so it looks exactly the same. So this is what it looks like now. As you can see, I've done most of the background. You can see at the top where there's space for some Christmas tree branches that sort of come in, and then you can see sort of the outline of the 3 snowman baubles there. So yeah, every time I get this out, 1, I forget how big it is, and 2, I forget how much progress I've actually done on it. Granted, a lot of it is block stitching because it was the background, but yeah, it's definitely one I do want to complete, and I do want to get some stitches in. I'm just not feeling super Christmassy at the moment, so I haven't really want to work on it, but I know it's there, and I'm hoping in the autumn months that I'll definitely get some stitches into it. So WIP number 2 is one of my favourite WIPs. I've been working on it recently and I've been really enjoying it, and it's called Halloween Spooktacular by Little Dove Designs. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. So I'm stitching this on 14 count grey Zweigart Ada, and I'm stitching it 4/1 full cross in the called for DMC colours. This is what it looked like last time you saw it. So I have substituted out some of the 310 for 310 as well, just to add a bit of sparkle to it. And here is what it looks like now. So I've made really good progress with this. I think I've finished pretty much all of the cross stitch. I think there's only about 40 more stitches to go. And I've started adding in some of the back stitch as well, which obviously really brings it to life. I'm not a back stitch lover, but I do love the way it looks, so I will do it for some pieces. I don't know if you're going to be able to see any sparkle if I sort of wiggle it around, probably not. But I've added sparkle sort of in the cauldron, the cat, the Halloween, the potion bottle. Yeah, I've added lots of sparkle throughout the spider, I think, as well. So yeah, this one should be finished very, very soon, and I'm happy because I've been working on it obviously for quite a while, so it deserves to be finished and up, ready for Halloween. WIP number 3 I started in August 2022, and it is Christmas baubles, and it was by an Etsy seller. Unfortunately, the pattern is no longer available, and I'm not really sure of the provenance of the artwork, whether it was paid for or not. But yeah, unfortunately, the pattern isn't available anymore anyway. I stitched this. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. This is their mock-up. So I'm stitching this on 14 count white opalescent Zweigart Ada. I'm stitching it 4/1 full cross in DMC 823, which is just the most beautiful navy blue colour. This is what it looked like in January, the last time you saw it. And excitingly, it is now finished. And here it is. Don't know if you're going to be able to see the sparkle. You can see a little sparkle actually, yeah. I love this. I love the colour that I chose. It's really, really gorgeous. Obviously I love the design because I wouldn't stitch it otherwise, but yeah, I'm really happy with the finished result. I don't know how to finish this. A standard frame would be nice, and I think I can't remember who suggested it, but someone suggested like having fun with the mounts, the framed mounts, and I thought perhaps like a sparkly silver mount would look really lovely, to pick up the silver sparkle in the Ada. So I might do that if I frame it. The other option is a pillow, and because it is a big square shape, so it would work well as like a big cushion for like the sofa. But with 2 young children, I'm not sure I'm quite ready to trust them with something so precious yet. So I think maybe a frame for now, and then maybe see what the future holds. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get this fully finished in time for Christmas, so it can be displayed for Christmas this year. So that's WIP number 3 that I started the year with, but now will be crossed off because it's a finish. WIP number 4 is by Emma Congdon, and it's in her book Cross Stitch for the Earth, and I've called it Pardon the Weeds. Each of the Emma Congdon in the books, the patterns don't actually have a name, so I just basically call them what the typography says. So this is what it'll look like when it's finished. I'm stitching this on a 14 count beige Ada. It was Ada that came free with a cheap knockoff Q-snap that I bought off Amazon. I like the colour of it, and I thought it'd look great with the design, but the Ada is really rubbish and I hate stitching on it. And it is quite a fiddly piece to stitch because there's lots of colour changes and back stitch, but I'm persevering with it. I've got it out recently to put some stitches in, and I do love the design, and I've done quite a lot of it, so I don't want to have to restart. This is what it looked like in January, the last time you saw it. I'm stitching this in the Call for Colours 2/1 full cross and the DMC flosses. Yeah, so this is what it looks like today. So, last time you saw it, it was just the writing that I had done, I think. So I've managed to put, so I've got some of the blue flowers starting around here, and then this flowery motif at the bottom. So, yeah, I put some back stitch in as well. It looks really lovely and delicate. I say I do really like the design. It's just a bit fiddly to stitch. It's not my favourite one to stitch on, but I want to push through and get it sort of finished because it is so close. So yeah, I love Emma Congdon though, and the way she does her letters is just, it's gorgeous. I've recently seen that cross stitch Jess is also stitching this. She's just started it, and there's lots of people that have already stitched this as well. But yeah. So that is my WIP number 4. So we're on to WIP number 5. WIP number 5 is one that I'm really excited to get finished. If you haven't seen my videos before, I have 2 little boys. I have a 1-year-old called Max and I have a 3-year-old called Leo. When Leo was born, I did a birth sampler for him, and that's complete and that's up in his bedroom. I will show you it one day when I get round to it. But obviously then when I was pregnant with Max, I knew I had to do one for him as well. So my husband actually picked out the one that he wanted me to stitch, which was this one here. So it's a Bossy Threads kit and it's called Baby Arc Sampler. I'm stitching it with all of the kit supplies, so the 14 count Ada and the threads, 2/1 full cross, and then obviously the back stitch. And this is where it was last time you saw it. I was really happy with how it's looking, and I added half of the back stitching, which was a call on my WIP Go. I'll talk about WIP Go in another video. It's not going so great, but it was good at the start of the year, so and I'm glad it prompted me to do the back stitch on this. So I did half of the back stitch, which really brought out the whole design and made me want to work on it even more. Yeah, so I've actually now finished all of the cross stitch. So this is what it's looking like. So as you can see, I've done all of the left hand side of the back stitch, so I just need to do the right hand side, and then in the space here and then along the bottom is the space where you write baby's name and weight and date they were born and that sort of thing. So I need to chart that, get my graph paper out and work out where I'm going to put that and his name. But yeah, so this one is not far off being finished as well, which is really exciting. I was getting a bit overwhelmed with all, because I had a few new starts and I was getting a bit overwhelmed with my WIP count. So I made sure to go back and visit some of the pieces that my existing WIPs from last year and previous. And yeah, I have made some progress on them, which has made me feel a lot better. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this one is looking, and hopefully next time you see it, it will be a finish. WIP number 6 is my biggest piece by far. It's a piece by Lord Libidan, which is a free pattern available on his website, and it is Generation 1 Pokemon. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. So it's 141 odd thousand stitches, and it is all the 151 original Pokemon. It was started in January 2023, and I'm stitching this on 16 count Zweigart Easy Grid Ada 2/1 full cross with CXC threads. This is what it looked like last time you saw it at the beginning of January. And I have stitched on this. It came up on my WIP go. I think this is a bit where WIP go fell apart. And I'll show you now. So this is what it looks like now. So it's really hard to fit in the whole thing. Just about. I think when I first picked it up, I started working here because that's where the Q snap was. So I filled a lot of that in. So if I show you that a bit more closely, I think most of what's on the screen now is new. And then my WIP Go came, and my WIP Go goal was to stitch 3 full Pokemon. So I thought what I'll do is I'll travel down the bottom to the end. So this is the end of the piece. And then I'll stitch 3 Pokemon starting that way, so that I know I've stitched the full 3 Pokemon. However, what I didn't realise I'd done is that I'd chosen the biggest Pokemon on the whole piece as one of those 3. So this little, big fella here, Blastoise, he's over 2,500 stitches just on his own. So I stitched him, but didn't get a chance, and I have completed him, but I didn't get a chance to do the other 2. And I think I got a bit upset with that. And then I put it down and I haven't picked it back up again. Although picking it up today and seeing it has really made me want to stitch on it. It is one that I do really enjoy stitching on. I love the full coverage and seeing all that progress and seeing the image develop. Yeah, it's an exciting piece for me. I started it in January 2023, and my aim is to do 25% a year and get it done in 4 years. I did get 25% on it in 2023, so I'm aiming to get it up to 50% this year. I don't know actually, it's really bad off the top of my head how much I've stitched on it so far, but I do have a really good chunk to go still. But again, like I said, seeing it today, I think it's one that I'm definitely going to keep out and pop some more stitches in because, yeah, I really love it. And if I'm sort of cheating, because there is the background colour all the way on the outside, is I can just put some stitches in that in order to get the stitch count up. Yeah, so that's an option as well, just to get some stitches into it. But I'm looking forward to carrying on this one, and I love how it looks. I think it's looking great. So that is my WIP number 6. My WIP number 7 is my first ever Mill Hill kit. It is called I Believe, and I got this from the Nimble Thimble last year. I started it in November 2023. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. I'm using the perforated paper that comes with it and all the thread and beads and things that come in the kit. This is where it was in the WIP parade at the start of the year. I didn't realise when I started this how many speciality stitches there were, like how little actual just cross stitch there was. But I am enjoying it. Unfortunately, I haven't done any more on it. So this is going to look exactly the same to you. But yeah, I think it's going to look beautiful when it's finished because of all the beads. I'm really excited to have it done. Like I said before, I'm just not feeling very Christmassy. The Halloween vibes are starting to come in, I think because this British summer weather is absolutely atrocious, so it's making me feel like wanting to cozy up and autumn vibes. So that's why I've been doing Halloween stitching, but hopefully that'll morph into some Christmas stitching soon. Yeah, I bought a tacky bill bead mat so that I can use that as well for when I want to bead this. So that should help as well. I think I'm a bit scared of this one when the kids are about, especially for like when the beading comes, because obviously they're just going to absolutely ransack everything. So I've got to be careful when and how I get this out, and maybe think of a way to sort the beads so they're secure as well. If you've got any tips of how you sort your beads, let me know. But yeah, definitely one I hope to get finished this year, by the end of the year, and be able to display it before Christmas. WIP number 7 is by Modern Folk Embroidery, and it was their 2021 stitch along, and it is called the Fruits of Plenty Sal, and this is what it'll look like when it's finished. So I didn't do it obviously at the time, but I decided to start it as my new year, new start in 2024. So I started it on the 1st of January. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Zweigart Murano in white, 2/1 full cross. This is what it looked like last time that you saw it. I'm using the, sorry, did I say 2/1? I meant 2/2. I'm stitching this in the Call for DMC colours, which are 932 and 3750. I just really love the way it looks. I've seen other versions, and I pretty much love all the versions, to be honest. But this version is just one that really like stole my heart. So this is what it looks like now. So I have put some stitches into this. It's so nice. Now this I feel is going to be the stitch where the frog comes to visit the most often. In my WIP parade, was it in my WIP parade or? Yeah, it was in my WIP parade. This bowl of fruit here, I went really wrong on. I did 3 stitches too high, so it's far too wide, and it threw the whole thing out, and I've had to totally fudge that octagon and the bird and the fruit and everything. I've had to totally fudge it. Thank you very much, by the way, for everyone that commented and praised my fudging abilities on that. Yeah, it was a challenge, but I did it. I wasn't going to unpick all of that. And then, so that was sorted, and then I did the middle one, and that was fine. And then I've come across, and I've basically realised that I've done this bit too far over somewhere. So I do need to, but it's not a huge unpick job. It's only sort of a little bit down here, that I need to unpick and redo. Which is a bit of a pain, but never mind. Yeah, I love the way this is looking. It just makes me so happy. I really, really like this one. Go and check out as well. I know loads of people have stitched this, but Lindsay from Blushing Pink Stitches has already stitched it once, and I think she did it in these colours. But she's now restitching it for her mum, and her mum's chosen the most beautiful pink tones to do it in. And she's doing like a block a month, trying to complete it. So it's really nice as well, and it's another one to follow along if you like my progress, to follow along with hers as well. So yeah, I'm hoping to get this finished in 2 years. I'll give myself 2 years to do this one. So hopefully aiming for 50% by the end of the year. I love getting this one out, and I love the fact that it's only 2 colours, so it's really easy to sort of swap and change between, and obviously it's in pattern keeper as well, which makes it really handy and easy to do. So yeah, that is my WIP number 8. My WIP number 9 is a temperature cell. So I'm doing this for my son. So I'm doing one for the year that Leo was born and one for the year that Max was born in. I think I'm going to do the same design for both of them, so there's no fighting. But I've started off with Leo's, who was born in 2020. So this is called Temperature Supernova, and it's by Climbing Oak Designs. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. I'm stitching this on 16 count black Zweigart Ada. I started this in January, 15th of January 2024. I think it was called on January's WIP Go, so it wasn't sort of a planned new start, but it was prompted by WIP Go. I was happy to start it. So this is where you saw it last time, and I'm stitching this 2/1 full cross using CXC threads from Talking Dog Stitchery, and I'm using the colours of the 36 colour range from Climbing Oak Design, so they provide colour ranges of different numbers dependent on your temperature range that you're going to need. So I went through all the months and found the lowest and highest temperatures of those months, and then use that to work it out. They also, as part of the pattern, give you sheets where you can write down the temperature for each month, so you've got a log of it. Yeah, so, and this is where it is now. So from my WIP parade, I have worked on it since. I did show it in a video, but I will show you now. So this is where it is. So I've completed January and February. So you can just see this little line here is where January ends and February starts, and it comes out and back. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with the way it's looking. I really like the colour range. Anita from the Violet Stitcher has done this. I think she did this one. There's a couple of similar ones. There's one that's like a spiral and one that's a supernova. I think she did the Temperature Supernova, and it's got charted white stitches that are like stars, but she decided to do it in beads instead, and I'm totally going to steal that idea because I love that idea. And I'm going to make these into little pillows, so the boys can have just their little pillows of the temperatures of the year they were born in. I do want to try and get this finished this year in order to then stitch Max's and get them sort of done and out the way. But I'll be honest, I don't mind picking this up. I quite like it. It's quite easy to just put a few stitches in. However, I need to spend some time and write down the actual temperatures on the pieces of paper that they give you. I haven't done that yet, so that's why I've stalled a bit. But when I get a spare sort of half an hour, I can sit down and do a couple more months worth, so that then I can carry on with this. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I love how it looks. I'm excited to work on this one again. My next piece, WIP number 10, is We Don't Inherit the Earth, and it's another one from the Cross Stitch for the Earth book by Emma Congdon. This is what it's going to look like when it's completed. I'm stitching this for my son's nursery that they go to, because I think it's just a really lovely saying and a thoughtful thing, a thoughtful saying. And they do have lots of sort of things up when the children leave and they bring presents. They do seem to appreciate those types of gifts and display them. I started this on the 18th of January 2024. This is what it looked like the last time you saw it. So I'm stitching this 2/1 full cross on 18 count easy grid Ada in white. This is just an offcut of Ada I had from my Pokemon piece. I bought a huge piece. And I'm using Royal Broidery threads from Blushing Pink Stitches to stitch this. They're not my favourite threads to stitch with. They are 100% cotton, but I find them quite tangly, so I have to use a thread gloss with them, but that's okay. And I am hoping to get it finished this year, but we will see. So this is what it's looking like now. So I think it's about halfway done, notwithstanding any backstitch, of course, because we leave that till the end. So yeah, I've done all the bottom blue bits. I've got the two octopi in there, and the two whales. And again, her lettering is just so beautiful. Um, yeah, it just looks brilliant. And then the waves, and then it'll go up into the top scene. But yeah, um, it's a paper pattern, obviously, because it's from the book. So I just do a photocopy to make a working pattern from. I don't mind a paper pattern. Obviously, like pattern keeper's easier for me, but paper patterns are okay. It just I worked on it quite a lot, and then I put it away for a little bit, and I think I got distracted by some other pieces. But it is something I enjoy working on, and I'm excited to work on it again. Okay, so WIP number 11, and we are on to the WIPs that were not in my last WIP parade. So these are new starts that haven't been in any of my videos yet. So this is a piece by Long Dog Samplers, and it is called Saga. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. I first saw Long Dog Samplers on Crafty Emily's video. She was one of the first Flosstubers I ever found, and she does lots of long dogs, and I absolutely adore them. And particularly her colour schemes as well. She does some really fun things with them. So yeah, go and watch her channel. But I knew I wanted to do a long dog, and I knew that there is a stitch along a sal called hashtag long dog leap year or long dog leap day sal. And the idea is you start one on leap year, on the leap day, and then you finish it within the 4 years. And so I knew I wanted to jump on that and give that one a go. And I chose Saga for it. Though Saga was a new pattern at the time. I think they've released more since, but that was their newest one. It's also their biggest one. So trust me to go big or go home. And I'm stitching this on 32 count white Zweigart Murano. I'm stitching this 1/1, and I'm stitching it using DMC 3750 for the arches, and then threads from overdyed cotton threads from Tom and Lily Creations in their gem collections. And I'm going to show you where I've got to. So this is my progress. Because I'm stitching it 1/1 on 32 count, it doesn't look like I've done very much, but I have. This is starting in the bottom right corner because everyone that I saw that had started this seemed to have started in the top left. So I just thought, let's do the opposite and we can meet somewhere in the middle. So yeah, this is the bottom arch, which is the tallest one, and there's sort of 3 along the bottom, and then I think there's 5 sets of arches, or maybe 4. But yeah, I love how this is coming out. I love the overdyed flosses. It's the first time I've ever really used fancy floss. And I really enjoy the colour I've chosen for the arches as well. I've only just realised, literally filming this WIP parade, that it's the same colour that's on the Fruits of Plenty, the darker tone on that as well. Yeah, so I'm trying to do the back stitch as I go along if I see any and know that there's some back stitch. So there's some teeny tiny spiders and things in there. But yeah, loving this. I did hear or read that somebody had said that if you want to complete this in the 4 years, you'd have to stitch 2,200 stitches a month or something. I clearly haven't done that yet. But hopefully it'll be one that keeps plodding along and progressing. And even if it takes me a bit longer than that, I mean, I've got a lot of things on the go at the moment, but maybe if my WIP pile diminishes slightly, then it'll give me some more time to work on this. I also get scared because this uses fancy flosses and I can't wash it, and it's on white, I get quite scared stitching on it, that everything's got to be super clean and there's no children around or anything like that. So yeah, it is sort of a special dedicated time where it comes out. It's not just, oh, I've got 10 minutes, let's grab something in and stick some stitches in. It's a more thoughtful process, but yeah, really enjoying it. So that is WIP number 11. WIP number 12 was a new start in March. So I went on my first stitchy day in March. The wonderful Tan, who is the Monogamous Cross Stitcher on YouTube and CXC by Tan on Instagram, she invited me along to a stitchy day that she was hosting in Dudley in Birmingham. So I went along. I was very nervous, but everyone was really wonderful and welcomed me with open arms. And I had just the best few hours. It was brilliant. And I decided on a new start to commemorate the experience, the fact that it was my first ever stitch day. And I chose a pattern that I've wanted to stitch for a while, and it's a Carolyn Manning Designs called Peacock Topaz. So this is what it'll look like when it's finished. It's very much my colour tones. Yeah, really my colours, gem tones. I love my teals, greens, and I do like purple as well. So it just really appealed to me. I'm stitching this on 16 count white DMC Ada, full cross, 2/1. And I'm using the colourful colours in CXC threads from Talking Dog Stitchery. And here is my progress. So I've got a really, really good chunk of this done. I think we're on about 20% now. What you can see is full coverage. That's all stitched in. And yeah, it's really good. It's great for stitchy days because there isn't too much counting. It's essentially block stitching, but then you get to swap your threads out fairly regularly in order to make it so it's not really boring. But it's not too much focusing, and you can still chat and talk to people. And I really love the way that these look. She has so many patterns, and I do have a few more on my wish list to start, and I've actually bought a couple as well. Yeah, so yeah, really love that. And I love the coverage on the 16 count 2/1 with the CXC threads. I think you can't see any white spaces. It looks really, really good. So yeah, more to come on the Carolyn Manning designs, definitely in the future, and maybe in just a second as well. So I've introduced Tan to you already, as I just spoke about her, but she's become a really, really good friend. She's just a lovely person, and she posted about a pattern that she wanted to start called Rainbow Quaker from Vivsters on Etsy. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. So I contacted her and said, that's on my start list too, shall we start it together? And she said, yeah, that's great. And we said, well, why don't we make it into a sale and see if anyone else wants to join in? We sort of put some feelers out with some cross-stitchy friends to see if anyone else wanted to join in. A couple of people did, which is great, and they're doing the same pattern as us. Then also a couple of people had some patterns that were rainbow coloured threads, but they weren't this exact pattern. And so we decided that we'd make the sale hashtag Stitch the Rainbow sale, and that it would be anything using rainbow colours, because rainbow colours make us happy. So we decided that that's what we were going to do, what we were going to host. It's still running. We would absolutely love it if you joined in the hashtag, so we can see all of your rainbow pieces. Cross Stitch Mad Sarah's doing the tarot cards from the Witchy Stitcher. Cross Stitch Jess is doing the Twisted Band sampler. Yeah, I can't remember, there's loads of people that have joined in, which is brilliant, and I love it. So this is where I'm up to. So I started this on the 1st of April, which is when we started the sale. And I'm stitching this on 28 count even weave that I hand dyed myself. So I've dyed this. I've been really enjoying dyeing fabric, and I also dyed the fabric for tans, and also Needle and Thread Amanda. I think her Instagram is Amanda. I dyed some fabric for her as well. I'm stitching this 2/1 with the called for colours from the pattern in CXC threads from Talking Dog Stitcher. This is a big pattern. This is the fabric. I don't even think I can fit it on the screen. Tan has already finished hers and it looks incredible. I'm going to put it down. So do go and have a look at her finish. Tan, as her name would suggest, is a monogamous cross stitcher. She does focus on one project at a time. So she has absolutely steamed her way through and completed it, and it just looks amazing. I'm really enjoying stitching it. So as you can probably tell, since I started my Instagram on the 1st of January, my cross stitch Instagram, at So Make and Create, please go and follow me over on there as well. I have tried to interact with the community as much as I can, and I've made some great friends already. And everyone's really encouraging, enabling, to start things together and just be collaborative. It's just really lovely. So I have embraced that because I really enjoy being part of that community. So I was talking to Soph from Soph on Instagram and here on Flosstube as well. Go and check out her videos, they're great. And she was talking about doing the hashtag Manning May. So I think Megan Babauta, Bridging the Museum Stitcher, Cam the Stitcher, and maybe somebody else, I can't remember, started this last year of doing a Carolyn Manning design. And I think the perception was is they liked the designs, like the peacock topaz that I just showed you, but they didn't know if they'd be bored stitching them or it would be a fun stitch. So they thought, let's just give it a try. And they did, and they all really enjoyed it, and they're running it again this year and probably every year from now. Also, the Stitching Haven by Ali on Instagram has a hashtag Just Another Manning Monday. So every Monday you can share your progress. You don't just have to stitch on a Monday, but every Monday you can share your progress of how you're doing on any Carolyn Manning piece. Anyway, Soph said she wanted to do Manning May. I said, I'm all up for that. What are you stitching? And she said, have you seen the Granny Square collection? Which I hadn't really. So I had a look and I fell in love. I do crochet myself. So I do love a Granny Square. And I thought, yeah, this is great. So Soph decided that she was going to do this one, and it's called Halloween at Granny's. And there were so many lovely ones to choose from that I basically couldn't decide and just totally copied and did exactly the same. And so I've stitched mine on 18 count Ada that is hand dyed by me. And I'm stitching it 2/1 with the called for colours in CXC threads from Talking Dog Stitcher. I started this on the 1st of May for Manning May, and I actually finished it on the 6th of July. So it's actually a start and a finish, and here it is. So I'm really, really pleased with myself that I've managed to get it started and finished. Sophie's doing really well. She's chugging along with hers. But yeah, I seem to have just steamed ahead with it. It's the perfect mix of block stitching, but then also colour changes. So it's not too intricate, it's not too confetti or faffy, but there are colour changes to make it, so you're not literally just doing block, 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 block. So for that reason, I really love it. I'm really happy with the fabric that I dyed as well. It was a total experiment, and there's some really nice sort of colour variations in there. It's probably not too true to life because of the light and everything, but yeah, because actually it's not totally full coverage, because you can see inside each of the diamonds there's actually one stitch that's visible. So yeah, I also did dye a piece of fabric for Soph to do hers on. However, I was on holiday when I posted it, and I posted it from a tiny little post office in the middle of nowhere, and it didn't get there for quite a while. So God knows what they were doing with it. But yeah, so she's just done hers on black, which again looks brilliant, and that's what the mock-up stitch is stitched on as well. But no, I'm super happy with this. I'm happy that it's a finish and it's ticked off. And I think I'm going to make this, I think I'm going to turn it this way and make it into like a notions pouch that will go with any of my Halloween stitches, I guess, to keep scissors and flossing and things. So yeah, really happy with that one, and hopefully soon it will be a fully finish. But yeah, that is my Manning May. Okay, we're on to WIP number 15, which is my penultimate WIP to show you today. So I love Lola Crow cross stitch. I've seen her previous Haunted Library and Greenhouse of Oddity cells, and I thought they were gorgeous, and I thought one day I'm sure I'll stitch them. Then she came out in March with her Deadly Aquarium cell, and if you know me, you know I love anything underwater, mermaids. That's totally my jam. I love it. Some people it's like dragons. For me, anything underwater and mermaidy is my bag. So I knew I had to do it. I think I sort of deliberated for a couple of weeks. I think I was getting a bit worried about the amount of WIPs I had. But then I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I've got to do it. So I bought it in the pre-order. And yeah, then the frame came out. Oh, sorry. I'm just putting up a like a stock photo, because obviously it's a mystery stitch along, so you'll be able to see where I'm up to, but there isn't like obviously a completed picture to show you. So I am stitching this on a 36 count opalescent hand-dyed even weave from Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. I originally bought this fabric to do a mermaid on, a Bella Filipina. However, I realised that I can't do it on 36 count because of the beads. So I think that was sort of the final straw for me, was that like, well, I've got the perfect fabric to do it on as well, so I have to do it. I'm stitching it 2/2 full cross with the core 4 colours from CXC and DMC, because there's a couple of colours that are in the 1 to 35 colour range that CXC don't do. So I've just subbed them out. And yeah, so here is where I'm up to. So I am behind, but that's okay. I'm actually halfway through a stitch. I'll pull that through for you. I'm behind, but that's okay. I'm really happy with the progress I have made. This fabric is beautiful. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the opalescence, and the mottling is gorgeous. I started the frame up here. This is where I started. I did about 30 stitches and I miscounted and went wrong. And it went in the naughty corner for a few weeks. I got really annoyed with it. And I think quite a few people had trouble with the frame actually. so it's not just me, thank goodness. But yeah, I obviously haven't completed the frame. There's another bit to go on this side, but I've started the exhibits. Haven't done any of the back stitch yet because, as we know, I love to cause myself a bother and do the back stitch at the end. So this was exhibit 1. This is part of exhibit 2 with a little puffer fish that has no spines yet, bless him, he's just a little potato. But there's more that goes that I haven't finished that. Exhibit 3 is the coral, which I have finished. I think is beautiful. It's very county, but it looks amazing. 4 is the fish. So there's a stone fish, another fish, and this fish. I can't remember the names of them. And then there's more now. I think we're on 7. I think. I'm really enjoying this. There's a lot of stitching that's already gone into this. There's like, I've made good progress. I don't feel bad that I'm behind. Yeah, I really love it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it when it's finished. I think it deserves to be framed, but I don't know where that's then going to go. But yeah, it's really fun and I'm enjoying it a lot. Although, and this is absolutely nothing against Megan at Coffee Craft, her fabric dyeing is beautiful. I don't like linen. I really don't. I don't like the unevenness of it. It makes it hard to count for me. I don't really mind the way it looks in terms of the stitching. That doesn't bother me too much. It's just actually counting it is really difficult. So, from now on, even weave all the way. Or Ada. I like Ada. I'm a fan of Ada. But yeah, I'll keep trucking along on this and hopefully get it finished this year. Yeah, even though it might not be done by the end of the sale, hopefully it'll get done this year. Okay, so we're on to my final WIP. We've got there. Take a deep breath. We're nearly there. So number 16 is a little bit of a curveball. As you can tell, I sort of have quite an eclectic mix of things that I like to stitch. And since I started stitching again in 2020, there's been a whole sort of road of discovery for me in terms of different fabrics, whether that's Ada, linen, or even weave, whether it's opalescent or not, whether it's different fabric counts, types of flosses, fancy flosses. There's, yeah, a whole range of discovery of things. And I've watched a lot of Flosstube. And one thing I've been interested in seeing is stamped cross-stitch kits. Now, I know that a lot of them are from AliExpress and places, Temu, places like that, and obviously that artwork isn't paid for, and that isn't something that I want to support. But the concept of them, I was interested in giving a go. So I was in Hobbycraft a few weeks ago, and I found this. So this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. So it's by Trimmets, sold at Hobbycraft, and it's a no count cross stitch kit, so it's stamped, and this one is called Crystal Shores. And it was £8, and I thought for £8 for a full kit with obviously the fabric and the floss and needles and what have you, I thought it's really worth a go. And like I said, anything water themed, sea themed, I'm happy with. They did have I think 4 designs in total. I think there was a tiger, a country scene, and a city scene, and then this one. And this was by far my favourite. And yeah, it's 11 count printed Ada from the kit, obviously. And I'm stitching it 4/1 with the kit threads. And let me just show you, this is where I'm very close to a finish. So this is where we're up to. So I was talking to Sarah from Cross Stitch Mad Sarah, and she was sort of saying that she tried to do a stamp kit, but it wrecked her head a bit in terms of seeing the progress and stuff, because it's all coloured in. It's not just white being filled in and getting more and more coloured, if that makes any sense. So like you can see here, all this pink is obviously not supposed to be pink. It will be a blue tone when I actually stitch it. But yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm stitching on it loads and then not actually making any progress, when obviously I am. A lot of people show the backs when they show you these to show how much progress has been done. So I will show you my back. So you can see how much. So basically, it's yeah, mostly done. There is the white, all the green in this shell will be white. The same with this shell. The same, that shell is done. This shell has a couple more colours in, and then there's just a couple of like shadows, I think, like shading to go in. But other than that, yeah, it's done. So yeah, excited. Hopefully this will be a finish next time you see it, and it'll be knocked off. Because again, this is another one where I saw it and I really wanted to start it to see how it went, and then I felt a bit panicky over, oh my gosh, I've got another WIP now, and there's too many WIPs. But obviously it's stitched up really quickly. It's 14,000 stitches, which is a lot of stitches, but actually for something this size, because it's 11 count, obviously you get a good sized piece out of it. Now, it feels a bit juvenile when I'm doing it because it's so big, and I like small count. Like I do 32 1/1. Like that's 3 times smaller than this. So yeah, the process of it, I've enjoyed the easiness of it, but I'm not sure I enjoy how sort of chunky the overall look of it is. Let me know what you think, how you think it looks, and let me know, because I've had this idea where, because you get the pattern as well, you get a paper copy of the pattern, and I'm wondering whether to stitch it again in on maybe like a 25 count 1/1, which will obviously come out loads smaller, but I think will just look less pixelated. It'll look more cohesive as a, I don't know. Is it mad to stitch something twice? That, yeah, I don't know. But I'm glad that I've worked on this and that we've got to where we are with it so far. So that's it. That is my mid-year WIP Parade 2024. 16 WIPs, 14 that I'm still stitching, 2 that are finishes, which I'm really pleased with. I'm guessing maybe around 15 is my sweet spot of how many I like to have on the go at any one time, maybe even less than that. But yeah, I'm really loving everything that I'm stitching. I'm loving being part of the cross stitch community, and I'm really grateful for you watching today's video. So thank you ever so much. I will be back with my next video. That is going to be a haul of everything that I bought in the last sort of 4 months that I've been away. Lots to show you there, and obviously that'll sort of allude to some plans that I've got coming up as well, and also just a bit of life update as to why I've been away and what I've been up to, if you're interested at all. So please, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. I'd love it if you'd leave me a comment, and also go and follow me over on Instagram. I'm always happy to have a chat and new followers over there. So thank you ever so much. Have a wonderful day wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and I will see you soon.